Hello, everyone. This is Howard Fox, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series, the podcast that celebrates individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Ryan Mellon is our guest today. Ryan is the Digital Nomad Coach. Ryan has gained financial and location independence through his real estate investing, and now he helps others as a personal coach to learn how to work their 9 to 5 or run their business from anywhere in the world. He is also the host of the Digital Nomad Nation podcast. Ryan, it's a pleasure to have you on the Outdoor Adventure Series. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it and looking forward to the conversation.
I am at the start very envious of your lifestyle because while I love podcasting and I love my coaching practice, I do it from the confines of a 12 by 12 room every day. So how did you get involved with being this digital nomad? I mean, was this like a moment in life that you said, I have to do something different? Tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, sure. So about 7 years ago, I was working two jobs, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. I was working in the restaurant business as a maintenance manager, fixing deep fryers. And then that was during the day. I would leave that job and I would go to UPS at night and work in the warehouse until 12 at night, sometimes 6 days a week, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. Only had Sundays off. So it was a really grueling experience. And I did that for over a decade, all of my 20s. And it was just grueling. I was reading a lot of blogs. I was watching YouTubers travel. I read The 4 Hour Work Week and
Mm.
Vagabonding by Rolf Potts. And both of those things really inspired me to maybe make some changes in my life. And so I was reading a lot about solo travel and I built up the courage to just book a ticket and go to Costa Rica and by myself and figure it out. And I did exactly that. I got both my jobs to agree to 2 weeks off at the same time. And I flew to Costa Rica. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know any Spanish. And I just figured it out. I met a lot of travelers there that were also solo, made tons of friends, got the zip line, jungles, um, flying volcanoes, swim in their crater lake, hang out on both the Pacific and Caribbean beaches and came back to work just like, wow, I really got to make some changes in my life. Some of the people that I met while traveling, other travelers have been traveling for months or years at a time. And before meeting them, I didn't even realize that was an option or
Mhm.
that people were doing that. So that really opened my eyes. So I came back and I went back to both my job, business as usual. But I told my bosses, like, I'm in a year, I'm out of here. Like, I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to be traveling more. And they didn't believe me, but that's okay. And about 6 months later, I was having a couple drinks with my best friend and his wife. And they were saying, like, when we retire, we're going to get an RV and just travel the state. And I was like, no, let's do this like now. Like, we're still young.
Nice.
Like, we should do this as soon as possible. Like, they were both working jobs in banking. And I said, well, let's set a date. Let's just save as much money as we can. We'll rent our houses out, give our cars to friends and family members to watch over, find an RV. If we have to buy one, use it for the year and sell it, that's what we'll do. But we were able to find one from a family member, rent it. So we did 23 states in 1 year. And we went all the way from Virginia to Florida to California to Washington State and back home. Um, we left during fall and we went to the Florida Keys. We tried to stay in the warmest weather as much as we could that
Smart.
whole winter. And it worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
It worked out pretty good. We had Thanksgiving in the RV in the Florida Keys. It was a really great experience. And the whole trip was just amazing. But halfway through, I realized like in 6 months, this trip's coming to an end. I'm going to have to go back to my jobs or do something. I had been interested in getting into real estate. earlier. I had gotten my license while working my two jobs. My real estate license was an agent, and I had done a couple transactions, but not a lot.
Mhm.
So during that trip, I called a good friend of mine who was a very active investor. She was buying a lot of rental properties and flipping a lot of houses. And I asked her, excuse me, I asked her if there was any way that I could help her um, with finding properties. And she said, absolutely. So we started targeting a lot of foreclosures back then, or it was 2018. And we did about 25 deals during that last 6 months I was on the road. That's when I realized I had income coming in while I was traveling and that I was actually a digital nomad then. I came back home, and then about 6 months later, I launched my international travel, starting with New Zealand and ending with Cuba after 6 months, 8 countries. And I worked the whole time I was gone. And ever since then, I have traveled at least 6 months out of each year. I'm home in the summer times when it's warm and it's good. I'm living on my sailboat and hanging out with friends that are on their boats that come up from the Bahamas. It's a good time to be home. And then when it gets cold, I go somewhere warm and I continue to run my real estate business and now also my coaching business.
Okay. Very cool. Now, if your summer home, is that in Florida somewhere?
So, excuse me. So, my summer home is on my sailboat in Virginia.
Oh, it's in Virginia. Okay. It's
Yeah,
a
in
nice,
my home state.
okay, very good. A little hot and a little humid in Virginia. I've lived there in the summer. Very
Yeah.
good. What town are you in?
So I live in Hampton, Virginia, which is
Okay.
right on the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay, I think I have been to Hampton. It's, I
Yeah.
think I recall that. You have to go, kind of go over the bridge, and then it's,
Yeah.
just okay.
So, Hampton is right before the bridge that goes over to Norfolk and Virginia
Okay.
Beach.
Okay, excellent.
So yeah, right. Yep. It's
Very nice.
right there on the water. A lot of waterfront in Hampton. There's about 10 marinas in Hampton, and I keep my boat in one of the marinas there in Hampton, Virginia.
Very nice. Now, it is winter here in the US. It's the December, so I know, just based on listening to you, you're not in the United States anywhere. Where are you right now?
Yeah, so I'm in Bali, and part of Bali, in my southern part of Bali called Uluwatu, which
Okay.
is one of my favorite places. I've been to Bali 4 times, and now I'm on a 1 year digital nomad visa, and I'm living here basically staying for 6 months.
Okay. Very nice. Now, how do you get ready to embark on an international trip of this magnitude? Because even though you're a digital nomad, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, at least at the early stages as you start to get comfortable with this lifestyle and how to make it happen. What were some of the lessons learned for you when it came to getting started as an international digital nomad?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to think about first is like what views do you want? What weather do you want? Do you like the mountains? Do you like the beach? Do you want to be in a big city? Right? Think about that. Then you need to think about time change. That's a huge one. If you're on the East Coast in the U.S. and you need to be on in-person Zoom calls from 9 to 5 every day. Being in Bali means that you're working night shift.
Mhm,
So some people do it. Some people might enjoy it. It's not the life that I want to live.
mhm,
So for me, I schedule my calls very early in the morning and at the end of my days. So I'm catching the beginning of the day in the US and I'm catching the end of the day in the US. But I'm basically unavailable during middle of the day in the US. But if you were someone who wanted to be at the beach in a similar time zone, um, who wants to work on those calls 9 to 5 EST, I would suggest somewhere like Cartagena and Medellin or Panama, somewhere that's just directly south. So you're maybe 1 hour off or something like that. And then another big one for me is cost of living. I want cost of living to be about 50% of what it is at home. Your money goes so much farther, you're less stressed. You actually, when I'm out of the country, usually I spend less money living out of the country than when I do at home. So
Really?
this lifestyle is actually more obtainable than when I'm home. So, um,
Okay.
yeah, so those are the things I'm looking for as far as picking a location. There's tons of other things you need to think about to prepare to get out there before you leave home. And that's what I help people with. But those are the biggest factors for making a decision of where to go.
Okay. Now, being in Bali right now, and I'm curious, what would be your monthly expenses, say, for rent, the utilities, and the internet? Now, and you're running Starlink, if I recall. So you've got the rent, uh, you've got you got to get around. What are so those two? What are the other kind of expenses that you would have, and kind of the approximate amount per month?
Sure. So I'm in a newer build, 1 bedroom villa, like an A-frame that's by itself with 2 outdoor seating areas, a large bedroom, a large kitchen with a bathroom. And it's nice and clean. There's a beautiful shared pool out there with about 5 other units. And I am paying, and I'm in Uluwatu, which is it's become more popular. I'm paying about 1,200 a month for the rent, and that includes all utilities, daily cleanings if I want it, and internet, which is Starlink. So I'm getting good speeds, and I'm able to connect. And then I have a motorbike that I rent by the month to get around on the island, and I pay, and that's a newer Honda. I pay 125 a month for that. And outside of that, laundry is $3 a load. You drop it off, you pick it up the next day,
Oh, wow.
and it's
Okay.
going to come back better than you could do it yourself. Smelling amazing, folded perfectly, wrapped in a plastic bag, stacked, ready to go. Um, gr- Groceries, I would say, are about 40% less than what you would pay in the States. Eating out is, I would say, 60 or 70% less than eating out in the States. So it's very minimal. You don't need a big budget to eat here. I do cook breakfast, but I often eat meals out. And let's say you don't want to ride a motorbike, you can get like a 1 hour Uber or Lyft, which is called Grab here is the app
Mhm.
that they have for that here. Let's say 1 hour to go into like Depenzar where the airport is with a driver in a newer vehicle. That's like $10.
Okay. Okay. When you are working today, uh, is this the continuation of the real estate business that you have? Is that the what's keeping you bookending your workday?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of real estate and a little bit of coaching. So
Okay.
I do one-on-one coaching,
Hmm.
helping people obtain location independence just by one-on-one, step by step, coming up with a game plan and helping them figure out. So I have calls on that. But then
Okay.
also I did over the years, as I've been home in those 6 months during the summer, I was buying up properties, renovating them, renting them out, flipping houses. So I did manage to build up a portfolio of rental properties that I own and manage. And I do
Okay.
manage them from wherever I am. I don't have property managers. So right before I got on this call, I was just going on a new lease, going over a new lease remotely over the phone and having them sign for digital signatures because I have someone moving in tomorrow.
Okay.
So I don't usually have move outs when I'm on the road. My leases don't allow for that.
Right.
But these guys decided to break their lease in the middle of the lease, which can happen. And so I've had to deal with it. And it works. It works out okay. But
Okay.
so that's basically what I'm doing. I'm keeping up on the management of my rental properties, and I am helping people obtain location independence through one-on-one coaching calls.
Okay. Now, I do want to talk more about some of the travel experiences, but while we are on the topic of working, the coaching uh, that you are doing to help folks, perhaps like me in the future, really begin to think through all the things that need to be done to establish a digital nomad lifestyle. What are some of the to dos that you would be working with me to think through to make it happen?
Yeah. I usually start with like, what is your vision of living abroad? Where is it? Is it the mountains? Is it the beach, an island, a big city? We're going to explore all the different places that might work out for you. What is the budget look like for that place? What
Mhm.
about time zoning, your work schedule? What about handling taxes back in the States? What about your house? If you're in a house, if you own a house, if you're renting a house, what do you do with your vehicles? Are you traveling by yourself? Are you traveling with family? Are you traveling with pets? Are you traveling with young kids? All these things you need to figure out. Maybe you want to be sailing the world and on your sailboat and working remotely. There's a lot of people that are doing that. Maybe you're
Mhm.
just going to stay domestic and do van life or RV life and travel in the States. And so it's coming up with that vision. And then what are the step by step plan to get you from where you're at to feeling comfortable to having everything in order and being confident to go into this new lifestyle of working remotely and being successful with it as quickly as possible, step by step. I'm here to help figure out all the details. And then also just if you run into snags or something comes up that you're not sure of, we can work through that. And then I'm also an accountability partner, right? If you really want to get out there, I'm going to be like, hey, what have we done this week to move the needle to get you out there? Like,
Oh yeah.
let's really do this because I think it's easy for people to say that they want to do it and it's a dream of many, but actually getting out there and doing it is takes a big leap. But I will tell you, once you've done it, you're not going to go back. You're just going to be, you'll get into the groove of it and it's going to be a life changing decision.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Now I am curious. So you're in Bali now. The weather gorgeous. The boat is back in Virginia, either probably in storage or maybe it's still on the water. But where are your belongings? Because you can only take so much, or you only want to take so much over to Bali. But where's your other belongings, or did you like divest yourself of everything?
Yeah, so I'm big on minimalism.
Okay.
So living on the boat makes you a minimalist already, right?
Okay.
Because everything's built in, like the furniture, the bed, the kitchen, all that. You don't need to buy any of that stuff. And your storage is limited. So you're living with only the essentials.
Okay.
Okay. And then I do have a shed at one of my rental properties that I have some stuff in it. I will tell you that I never go there and I could probably throw everything in the trash that's in that shed out because I don't need any of it and I don't use any of it. But there is some stuff in there, some stuff for the rentals too, like window AC units in case of an emergency and stuff
Mm,
like that. But
okay.
basically, I have I literally pack light when I'm here. I travel with 2 carry-ons. I don't even check a bag. If it doesn't fit my 2 carry-ons, it doesn't come. When I come to a place like Bali, I'm renting a fully furnished apartment. If I am buying new things, it's probably new clothes. And what I'm thinking about is, all right, I'm buying 2 new t-shirts today. What old t-shirts are getting donated, or maybe they're at the end of their life and they're getting tossed out, so that I'm
Okay.
not getting out of my two carry-ons. And that way, it's super easy to travel. It keeps the cost down, and my stuff never gets lost by the airline.
I love it. I love it. And I to be honest, in the spirit of full disclosure, I moved from Chicago to Las Vegas over 4 years ago, and I'm still paying for a bloody storage unit. It's like it basically maybe it's 2/3 of my car payment, which I'm
Oh,
like, I literally went in and took all my books from graduate school, and I donated them to the library because I'm never gonna take them anywhere again. I
yeah.
love that. So I love the minimalist aspect of it. I definitely feel there's things I don't need anymore, but that takes effort, and I can see where, as a coach, that's very important. And I love the fact that you're goal oriented in your coaching approach, which like you want to make it happen, let's make it happen. And that's I mean, that sometimes that's all the client needs is they wanna do it, but they just need some guidance, some coaching, good open-ended questions to help move them forward. Now, I am curious in the time we have left, Ryan, some of your favorite travel experiences. I mean, what has been some of your top moments like, wow, I really get to see this beautiful place that you're enjoying yourself, you're meeting nice people, you're having good food. That's an important part of my lifestyle. I love good food. But what have been, say, the 3 or 4 or 5 top travel experiences that you've had?
Yeah. So one of my top travel experiences was doing the Hai Giang Loop in Vietnam. So in the north of Vietnam, it's a 252-mile journey through the mountain, and it's super scenic, just absolutely amazing. You show up at one of the places you've chosen to do. There's a lot of places in the city that you start off from, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But you get there, you stay there, they give you a bike, they give you a guide, you're in a group. And then as soon as the police go on lunch, they set you off on your journey so that you don't get harassed to check for international driver's license, or trying to get they might be trying to get a couple dollars off you on your way out of town. So then you drive all day through the mountains, and it's just so amazing. And they have places for you to stay each night already set up. So like the very first night we were in this barn style um accommodation in the countryside in the middle of nowhere, and they just put out amazing spread of food for us, the guides and a couple cooks. And we were a whole group of foreigners. I was the only American in that group. We had a couple people from Germany and the Netherlands and Bulgaria and a couple other places, as well as our Vietnamese guide. So we had a really good group, and we ate dinner, and they got us all a little tipsy on the local moonshine. And they had a one karaoke machine and one light bulb in this place, in this living area, and we were all just singing karaoke till 1 in the morning. And then we woke up at like 8 a.m., still a little hungover from the night before, and we rode all day, another 8 days through the mountains until the next place. And we did that for 4 days, and just seeing the northern part of Vietnam. There are parts in the country where it's just like a guy with one ox and one plow, like they did 100 years ago, and the rice fields, and kids that are helping out with raising of cattle.
Mhm.
And it's just a really amazing experience to see the untouched nature and the way that people are living with the land. And it's just absolutely beautiful. Definitely one of my top experiences of all times, that I just absolutely love. And for anyone who's adventurous and doesn't mind being on a motorcycle for 4 days, definitely check out the Hai Giang Loop in Vietnam.
Okay. Excellent. Where now you're in Bali. What is it about Bali that you really find so enjoyable?
So Bali is a special place. There's only a few places in the world that I've been that I can explain. They just kind of feel magical to
Mhm.
me. And I think a lot of things go into that. The nature, the locals, just how kind and genuine and welcoming they are. And there's lots of very cool temples to explore here. There's beautiful beaches. There's jungles in the middle. Ubud is an amazing place for, it's a hot spot for digital nomads. There's co-working spaces everywhere, but it's in the middle of the jungle and there's monkeys everywhere. And, um, they're big on, um, it's a very big hotspot for people who like meditation and yoga and holistic type things. You can take classes there and you have that type of atmosphere. But you also have just tons of people from all over the world that are here. They're also digital nomads, one of the top digital nomad places in the whole world. So you have a community here that you can tap into, meet other travelers, other digital nomads, entrepreneurs, network, become friends. And then the cost of living is very much less than where I'm from as well, which is just icing on the top. And it's warm all the time here, and I don't like the cold. So I think that's why Bali is such a cool place for me.
Okay. Very good. Now, the Digital Nomad Nation podcast, how long has that been around, and what's the purpose for that?
Sure. So it's been about 2 months since we launched, and
Mhm.
tomorrow our eighth episode is coming out. So we're
Excellent.
have an episode come out every week. And part of the show is me interviewing other digital nomads. So we're getting to the bottom of their journey. Why did they become a digital nomad? What were they doing before? What are they doing for work now? Where are they traveling? What are their experiences? What are their challenges? What is the awesome things that are happening in their lives and their business as they travel to inspire others to become digital nomads? And then so we do a I do an interview with we put out 2 a month of that, of interviews with other digital nomads, and then in between, I do a quick 10-minute what we call Nomad Notes episode that
Mhm.
kinda just gives a real time, recap of my last 2 weeks of what my experience have been like. What beach have I been to recently that's cool? Who have I met? What problems have I had, with working? Like the other day, I had to go shoot a podcast and, the power was completely out in my villa. So I had no internet and no power, and I had an hour to get to this place to record my podcast. So I had to quickly search for a co-working space, get on my motorcycle, ride 20 minutes, book this space last minute, get in and get the podcast done. And it worked out perfectly. But those are some of the challenges, and so I talk about, like, kinda what I've been up to, so people get a glimpse of what the real life looks like in
Mhm.
between, episodes. Interviewing some really cool digital nomads for doing some stuff, doing work and traveling like me, but also very different. None of these guys are in real estate. They do different types of things, so you get to hear the types of jobs that they do as well, so
I love it. I love it. Before we head out, Ryan, I'm really curious. I mean, you've had quite the journey. I mean, I can appreciate you working in a restaurant and UPS, and you've been and getting into real estate. I mean, that all is something very doable here in the US, but you've taken it up a notch or two and beyond to create this lifestyle. Well, as you look back, what has been what I would call your aha moment, or like, wow, I get to do this. I get to make a difference and help people. What's been your aha moment?
Yeah, I think through my journey, I met a friend in Mexico, and this was about 2 years ago. He was working in digital marketing media, um, social marketing media, I'm sorry. And he was working for 9 to 5 at the office, and he was really interested in becoming a digital nomad as well. So I started helping him become a freelancer on the side through working, doing other people's social marketing for higher paying customers, like as in the US, through sites like Fiverr and Upwork and freelancing sites. So basically, I helped him figure out where he wanted to travel, how much money he needed, building up his portfolio as a freelancer. And within about 6 months, he 10x'd his income, was able to quit his 9 to 5, and since then has worked from about 13 or 14 countries. So that's when I realized helping my friend become location independent. That's when I realized, hey, maybe I can help other people do this and I can make a career out of it. So that's when I started doing the one on one coaching with people that want to get into this lifestyle.
I love it. As far as the coaching is concerned, when we visit your website, the Digital Nomad Coach, is there besides the contact form, is there any type of collateral or a lead magnet that you would direct people to while you're there?
Yeah. So I have a free 35-page course called 7 Ways to Become a Digital Nomad. You can download it instantly. And I go through just many ways you can be a nomad, like sailing around the world, backpacking, van life, co-living, being a hybrid nomad, which I consider myself, where I'm home 6 months and I'm gone 6 months. So
Mhm.
I go over all that and the details of that, and that's free. And then once you download that lead magnet, you can also book a free strategy session with me to see if one-on-one coaching is something that is right for you.
I love it. Love it. Well, we are definitely going to provide the backlink to the website, the Digital Nomad Coach. .com. We'll also have a link to that, to your giveaway. Uh, Before we head out, any final insights that you'd like to share with our listeners? Again, this journey that you've been on, something in a quote, a movie, a book that you just, this kind of helped change your life, your mindset, and what would you like to share with our listeners?
Hmm. I think one of my favorite quotes is travel is a book. And for those that don't travel, they only read the cover. And I
Okay.
may be mixing that up a
Mhm.
little bit, but that's one of my favorite travel quotes. Um,
Okay.
Also, fortune favors the bold. So just get out there and try it. See if this lifestyle is for you. And if there's any way I can help you, I would love to help
I love it. Well, I it's been very inspirational just to have this chat with you today, Ryan. And this whole digital nomad lifestyle is definitely a part of my thought process these days. Because I mean, I love what I do. I love the podcast. I love the coaching, but I love to travel, and I would love to do more of it. So I totally appreciate what you're doing, your journey, and I want to thank you again for taking the time to join us on the Outdoor Adventure Series. Now, we are going to provide a backlink to the website. We'll have a backlink also to your pod link, which is kind of the homepage for the podcast, the Digital Nomad Nation. I know there's a lot of directories listed there, so wherever our listeners like to get their podcasts from, they'll be able to make that selection as well. And any other social sites that we should add to our show notes?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm the digital nomad coach on
Okay,
Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. So check me out.
excellent. Very good. Ryan, thank you again for joining us from Bali. It's at least it's in the morning, so you get to at least enjoy your day. Go have a nice breakfast. How's the coffee in Bali, by the way? Do they drink
It's
coffee?
amazing. It's amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. I found a great place local that
Okay.
actually you pick out your beans. they will roast them right there for you. And like
My
I
God.
got some beans from Sumatra,
Okay.
and then they'll grind them up to whatever you need. I actually brought my French press with me because I'm a big coffee guy.
Yeah.
And I brought my coffee grinder and it burned up in 3 uses. I guess the electricity was just so different, it fried it. So this coffee shop right down the street is grinding my beans for me, and I'm having Sumatra Indonesian coffee in the French press every morning. So it's amazing.
Well, that's fantastic. I'll tell you, if I get to Bali and you're there, coffee's on me. I'm a big coffee fanatic as well, and my
Absolutely.
Bharat's kind of I needed to clean it a little bit more than I had been, but I have I have like a Kinu grinder, and so that's
Okay.
wonderful. Does a good job, but fresh
That's
roasted
awesome.
beans, you can't beat it. So I love it. Ryan, thank you again. It's been a pleasure, and thanks to our friends on Podmatch for helping to make and facilitate this introduction. But really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. It was a really good conversation, and I hope you have an awesome evening.
Fantastic. Listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a real quick close, and you and I can have a final chat. Okay. All right, folks. We have just been chatting with Ryan Mellon, the digital nomad coach. I'll tell you, if you've ever entertained the idea of getting out of your comfort zone and taking your show, whatever you do for a living, if it's possible, if you sit down or you're doing it day in, day out virtually or in the office but you can do it virtual, this is a lifestyle that's worth checking out. Even if you can say you've tried it once, maybe it's not for you, but as Ryan is alluding to, just do it. And as you said, fortune favors the bold, and there's a huge world out there for you to enjoy. And I hope you are at least contemplating taking advantage of this. Now, do go out to Ryan's website, thedigitalnomadcoach.com, as well as the social sites of Facebook, Instagram, and also you can visit his Digital Nomad Nation podcast. And we're going to provide all those backlinks in our show notes. As for us, you can find us on our website, theoutdooradventureseries.com. We are also on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. This episode will be up on YouTube. We'll also have the sharing of some of the photos that Ryan will be sharing with us on our show notes. And of course, wherever you listen to your podcast, whatever directory, like, share, and comment where possible, like Spotify or Apple. But if this episode resonated for you, we definitely want to hear about it. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day, and we look forward to having you join us on a future episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Take care now.